Good day on my Power Addicts crew. Today's video. Well, if you guys have been following my channel, you'll notice that I've been doing relays, power distribution centers, and such like that. Relays showing how to test them if they're working, showing how to do a positive side switch and do a negative side switch on a relay. Then after I did those, I turned around and made a couple power distribution center. One, I used a little compact unit from Amazon, very sweet little package. I wired it as a positive side switch. Then I did the Jeep Cherokee XJ power distribution center build, wired it as a negative triggered relay pack. Now you'll see here in just a minute in the video, I'll give a quick summary about what the difference is between positive and negative, just in case you haven't caught any of my videos. If you haven't, that's possibly could mean that you haven't subscribed. So what you really need to do is hit that subscribe button down below before we get too deep into this, so you will be notified of any videos I release. So some of you who may be viewing this video before I did the XJ negative side build may need to go back and watch that first to get an understanding as to why and how the switches work, the relays work like they do. So you can watch this video all the way through if you want. I would really appreciate that, but you may need to bounce back to the XJ PDC power distribution center to really understand the build first. Then you'll understand what the conversion is all about. So everyone, let's just stop the rambling, get on with the video. Go. Okay, before we get into the whole rewiring this right here for positive side switching, because it's currently a negative side switch or ground side switching, before we get into the whole rewiring of that, I want to give you guys a quick summary of positive versus negative side switching so you guys understand why I'm doing this. Now again, I'm going to give you guys a quick summary, but if you really want the details, I'll put the link down below in the descriptions for you guys to see the detailed videos between positive side switching and ground side switching. Okay, cool. Let's move on with this. Here's a typical Bosch style relay that you pick up at in your auto parts store, and I noticed that those little black terminals there don't show up. These terminals don't show up very well, do they? So let's tell you what. Relay, yeah. See, white background, because these posts show up real well now. Okay, what you see I've got drawn here are these little lines. These lines indicate each one of the posts here on the relays, okay? So what we're going to be doing is, right now, this XJ box is wired for ground side switching, which means my switch closes the ground side circuit here. Because what we'll do is explain our post first. 86 on a positive side switch, okay? Positive side switching, like I've got this switch light over here. 86 post is where you'd hook your switch up on standard positive side switching, okay? Post number 30 goes to your battery. Post number 85 goes to ground. Post number 87 goes to your accessory. And I got these little fancy LED lights drawn up here. Now, I've got these mimicking the positions of this relay. So 86, 86 on this side over here would normally go to your switch on a positive side activated relay switch. 30, 30 goes to your battery, like I mentioned a moment ago. 85 is your ground on this side here. That goes to your ground. Like you take this wire right here that comes off this post, screw it to your firewall, whatever, to give it a ground circuit. 87, which is going to be these two posts here. These two posts here. Now you guys need to really watch my video about relays, because actually there's 87, 87A, 87, 87, or 87, 87A. There's a couple different relays, but I'm not going to get into that right now. You guys need to check out my video about that, and I put the links in the description below for that. Okay, so your 87 post will go to your lights. You see these fancy little LEDs I got going on here. Now let's talk about positive side switching first, which means 86 post is where our switch is going to be for positive side or hot side switching. This is a standard 2-post switch. 1, 2, nothing fancy. Little rocker, nothing fancy about it. Typical switches that you pick up at any of your auto parts stores. They're very inexpensive, and these are probably the most used switches that's out there in the market right now. So what we got going on here, this switch This is you see this little rectangle over here? This represents your fuse block under your hood. You take a wire, come from either accessory or full-time power, depending on how you want to wire it. Would come from your fuse block here to this post here on your switch. Then coming out of this switch, of this post here, you connect another wire here and taking it to post number 86. So your circuit, whenever you turn this switch on, you get power from your fuse block, come into the switch here, then comes out of the switch on this side to your 86, which activates the relay, which turns it on. Because over here on 85, this goes to ground. You take a wire screwed into your firewall, to your fender, wherever it is you need, on the engine block, wherever it is you need it. So whenever you activate the switch here, it sends power to 86. 85 has this ground, so what it does, it completes the circuit between these two posts here. When it completes the circuit on these two posts, it clamps the relay shut, which means it closes up the circuit, okay? You got this little flat contactor. They go click together like that, closes the contacts, closes the circuit, which means the battery side here, this is your battery rectangle, comes through post 30 with the circuit closed, okay? And meaning the switch is turned on. You get power comes from 30, goes through the relay, through into 87, passes it onto your lights or onboard air, whatever accessory it is you're activating, or your lockers, whatever it is you have to be activating. So switch is turned on, power comes from your fuse block, through your switch, hits relay 86, post 86 on your relay. 85 is grounded automatically, no switches, no nothing, just a wire going from boom to boom, okay, to ground. That completes that circuit, which clamps the relay shut. When it clamps the relay shut, you get power comes from battery to post 30, passes through 30 into 87s. 87 carries the current to the wire here, takes it down to your lights, your lockers, onboard air, whatever. Okay, we're clear on that part. That is positive side switching. Each post, each one of these spades on the relay, except for this, and some people use this middle one, some people don't. It's totally your call. But let's just pretend like that one's not there. Let's just put an X on it for conversation. That one is not there. Dude, let's just erase the rascal, so we don't complicate anything. Because typically what people do, they'll just jump off this one post if it's only a 30 amp. So we'll just pretend like his center post isn't there on the relay. So in a positive side switch, you've got a wire with a purpose here, a wire with a purpose here, a wire going out here to ground, and a wire going to your battery. All four posts are used, giving you 4 wires, or 5 if you use the middle one. Most people don't. Giving you 4 wires that are actively used, coming off of it. Okay. What did I do with it? So, tell you what. See this right here? This one's got the 5th wire for the middle relay right here. So if you was to use every single one of these wires, you would have all 5 wires being used somehow, some shape, form, or fashion on a positive side switching. Okay, I know I sound like I'm totally beating this subject to death, but now we're going to go to negative side switching. Okay, the plan changes. Here's a switch which has been over here on the positive side. We're going to move it over to negative. Okay, so what happens now is come off of ground here, there, then come from here. The switch itself is breaking the ground connection. Remember that. Now over here on your positive side of your, there's no switch over here anymore. Let's take this right here out. We no longer have a switch over here, and it's coming from the fuse block. That's an extra wire going over to the fuse block. Guess what? We don't need that no more. Again, we're on negative side or ground side switching. Remember this. We no longer need that wire, and there's a reason for it. Give me just a moment. Okay, fuse block's still in the car, but got no wire going to it. We don't need it. Okay, so what do we do? This wire doesn't change. Okay, 87 still goes out to your lights, lockers, onboard air, whatever the case may be. Okay, we don't change that. Now our battery wire, Now we got a little something going on different here. A battery wire still feeds post 30, not a problem. Go straight to post 30, we're good to go there. But what we can do on a ground side switching is now we take a wire, come from 30, move it over here to here, and move it down to 86. Why do we do that? Because 30 is coming straight from the battery, which is going to supply power to your lights, lockers, onboard air, whatever. Coming off of 30 comes to 86. So you got the same power wire coming from the battery that feeds 30 and 86. Okay, that is a good way to connect. But notice one thing, what we've done here, we've eliminated one wire, because this wire that went all the way into the in here, switched down to the fuse block, into your fuse box underneath the dash. We no longer need that because we're pulling power directly from the battery from post 30 to 86. 86 is a very low consumption as far as amperage wise. 30 is going to be your high amp feeding 87. To activate this relay, which is sitting in here like this, 86 this post, 85 this post. The power it takes to turn this relay on between 85 and 86 is mere minuscule milliamps. I mean, so little power, okay? The sweetness of that is simply that you can use this wire here from 30, jump it over to 86. I mean, we're just talking literally jump a wire from boom boom. See this little black line right here? That was where on a past video I was representing what I was doing whenever I was building a relay pack, the power distribution center. So you literally take a wire, jump over there, done. It doesn't even have, it can be so short that it doesn't even leave the perimeter of the relay, because all the thing you're doing is just going from here to here. That's all you're doing. So with that being said, what do we do to activate the relay? We've got 86 here. 85 just needs its ground circuit completed. Well, here's the beauty of that. You run one wire from 85, post number 85, right here, right inside your, you're driving inside your cabin of your Jeep or your car, truck, whatever. Mount your switch, take this and just screw it to anywhere underneath your dash, because you get your ground. Screw it to the floorboard, screw it to a ground point under your dash and your wiring harness, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just hook it directly to the ground, because then you're not plugging into the fuse block. And then you got a bunch of big spidered mess coming out of the fuse box for a positive side switch that just looks crappy, okay? It just totally looks messy. Just don't do it. Well, the ground side switching, you just come off the ground and you can use this same ground across a array of switches. It works beautifully on these type switches. Two-legged posts right here, these standard size switches, okay? And I know I'm emphasizing that, and there's a reason for it. So again, we have eliminated wire because we got nothing going to the fuse box anymore, because we're getting a positive from the battery from 30 jumping over to 86. 85 is a ground circuit that we're using the switch to break the ground circuit. This goes inside your cabin or inside the tub of your Jeep, where you're sitting, underneath the steering wheel, in your dash, whatever. And you hook a ground anywhere under the dash, because it comes from anywhere under the dash from your ground through the switch to post 85. Closes the ground circuit, clamps the 85 and 86 together, allowing power to pass from 30 through 87, turning on your accessory, okay? Sweet and simple. Now, you would think that's the best way to do this. In a regular plain Jane toggle switch situation, these are the only way I like to wire them up. But now here comes the catch-22. These switches. So we got 3 tabs back here. What happens is one switch, and I'll pull out my other ones here in a little bit whenever we get to that point in the video. One of these is going to be ground. One of these completes your circuits, like your okay, watch this. If it's coming from a ground here, come back out here to complete the circuit, and you turn it on, it works fine, don't get me wrong. But what happens, see, it's got this little light inside here, right here. See that? What that light is made for is whenever you turn it on, that little light, it lights up saying, hey, this accessory is activated. here's the problem with ground side switching. You're only using a ground circuit. You're not using a hot circuit. So you can't wire these type of switches in a ground side switch, ground side activated relay. Hence the reason for this video. I wired this to show you guys how to do ground side switching. I love it. It works great with these switches, but now I want to use my fancy switches I built in my switch pod. Okay, so I got to rewire this for positive side switching, and I'm going to show you guys how to convert. And the purpose for that was, for one, I'll show you guys how to wire this up for the cheap switches. Okay, then you know, save up your money and you buy the nice fancy switches like you see in my switch pod. You don't want to build another one of these. It's just a pain in the tail. Okay, so what you end up wanting to do, how to convert the negative side switch relay package you built. Now you got fancy cool switches. You want to convert it to the positive side switches so you can use all the features of your switches. Okay, which would mean wiring that box up for positive side, which means I'd be using all three of these terminals on this, so whenever I turn it on, that light will come on. So with that being said, let's move on to the relay box and start cutting this baby and we'll rewire it. So what we need to do is right there on that end, pull back on it, and ouch, then that comes off. See where I've got that's my switching circuit there for the ground side switching. Because what I was going to be doing is taking all my wires coming from these switches here, coming into here to activate the relays. Well, now that we're changing that, there's going to be a little bit of wiring configuration difference going on. These will be turned into a positive side switch after I cut out some of this junk through here. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to do, I bent these right here back a little bit out of the way to give me some room to work. I'm going to go get my screwdriver, which I apparently didn't pick up whenever I set this thing up. Take all these screws out to get this cover right here out of the way, so give me a little bit of a, I ain't gonna say room, just one more thing I don't have to deal with while I'm working with this. Then we'll cut out my little wire ties where I've cleanly packed all my wires together, so I can get down inside this thing and show you guys what needs to be moved and where. Okay, so be right back. Remember, as I mentioned before, on the wires to where you got your post here that goes to the battery, and then this one is the hot post that goes to the switch on a positive switch circuit. Well, and I told you that if you're coming from what I did in that little diagram, if you bring the battery post here, then just make your little short jumper wire to this one, it activates your hot side of your relay. Therefore, all I got to do is close up the ground and it activates the relay, allows the current to pass through. So all thing you need is a short jumper wire for a negative switch relay circuit. Okay, so here we go. See these little jumper wires right here? There's one there, there, and one back here. That's the little jumper wires I mentioned a moment ago. Now they're a little bit compact up inside there, so it's gonna be a little bit of a not too bad of an issue. I just have to pop some of those wire ties loose, which I've already done. You see I've got this right here loose. So all I really got to do is to do a positive switch circuit on these. Is cut these right down next to where the battery, so I get the camera angle right. Like this is where the battery wire comes in at. It's connected right there. It's connected right down inside there, so all thing I got to do is take the end of my cutters here, the little sharp end, snip them, bring that wire up, and solder me a wire on the end of each one of those, and then bring it out to that little post that's on the strip right there. That's going to become my circuit again, my switching circuit. So here's my grounds. That was my switching circuit. Okay, so basically what I'm going to end up doing is cutting all these off to the same length, put them all together, solder them together, and bring one black wire out for my ground. Now remember, see how thin the gauge this right here is? That's okay, because remember what I told you. These relays pull such minuscule power to turn them on from the positive side here and negative side here just to activate the relay. It pulls such minuscule power, such very little power, that you can use this tiny gauge wire to conserve space inside here. So I'm not going to change anything on the gauge of the wiring on the ground, so I'm just going to cut that, solder some more wire here and bring me a ground out the front where this post is. So I'm gonna set this wire up, cut it, and put my black wire in and start coming through here snipping those to get ready to solder in my positive leads. Be back in a bit. Before I cut my hot wires and stuff, I went ahead and tied my grounds together. Took the grounds that come through here, wrapped them together, soldered those. Then I took this wire here, tinned it, soldered it, wrapped it, contacted on this right here, soldered those together. And then I took multiple layers of heat shrink to protect it and to make sure I had proper strain relief and such. Here, got a wire tie to tie it all together. And now I'm going to take this, fold it back a little bit, tuck it in a little bit, come on. Then I'm going to take my wire tie, come around this piece here. That prevents, shouldn't happen once it's mounted, obviously, but the wire is never get pulled, tugged, or whatever. It helps prevent any kind of strain being put under the joint itself. It's a good solid solder joint, but again, I'm kind of a stickler for my connections, so therefore, no issues later on. So now I'm going to take and wire tie this together here. Then we'll start pulling all these out and start soldering in from my hot wires. Cool? Cool. You know what? I'm going to leave this out. It gives me room to work. Yeah, do that. Leave this out first. Get all your wires soldered in for your switches. Then we'll tie that up. That's what we'll do. Yes. Okay, converting this from a negative trigger to a positive trigger, we now got to install our positive wires that goes to our switch, because now we're going to be running our switches off of a battery source instead of just completing a ground circuit. So I went through there and I showed you those little loops that was down inside there. I pulled each one of those loops out, snipped them. You can see here my solder connections here that I have not covered with anything yet. Soldered my wires together, got them all nice and solid. And these are they're so close to the wiring here. I'm not going to use heat shrink, but what I will do is put me a coat of that right there on there to help protect the wiring and such. Always try to protect your wiring and prevent issues later on. So once that stuff dries real well, then I was taking wire tie them to all this right here, make them a nice tight bundle. Therefore the cover will fit well, and it also helps prevent vibrations causing any connection issues. So there they are, all soldered up. And I'm gonna set up my back over here, which will be which way to go. That right there. Gotta set that up next. Cool, cool. I've got each one of these right here. Cut the length to go along my blocks, and the way I did it, much like the other one, it's kind of like when I opened this up like a clamshell, and I had kind of clamshells together. The positioning here, I wanted to mimic the positioning coming down through here, which also allowed me to keep the length of my wires in check. Okay, I've got my little ends soldered on. Got crimped them first, then soldered them to make a good, strong connection. I can't emphasize that enough because I enjoy building stuff like this. It's fun. In a way, it's even relaxing for me. But what I hate doing is chasing down electrical gremlins when things start going wrong. That drives me nuts. So what I do as I build them, solder all of my connections to make sure everything's strong so nothing starts vibrating loose. And took my little black tape right there, liquid tape, covered up my wiring to. Only thing that really that's going to serve, because there's really no real way that it's going to short out against anything in here. But what it will do, just in the event of water intrusion, that you're not going to get water around each one of those connections, and possibly shorten them out and turning relays on or something, So each one of these, as I ran from relay here, ran it down to each one of my posts here. I had this kind of hanging like this, and this yellow one goes to the first one. And it's the yellow, the green. I'm going to show you guys something here in just a moment. And then green comes across, and I've always done the heat shrink on one of them. I need to shrink the rest of them. Now, if you guys notice, wait a minute, I got two yellows. Oh no, look, I got two greens. How will I know the difference? Well, aside from looking back through here, and I can take my multimeter and trace them. That's one way. But before I put my wiring in, let me see here. Deal with me, people. My head's all stopped up. If you look really close on that green there, there's a black stripe right there. That black stripe wasn't originally there, so what I did is took a Sharpie marker, run the length of that wire right there to put a black stripe, so I could differentiate between this green wire and that green wire. So then I knew where to put them in the position of my terminal block. Cool? So that's pretty much the summary of where I'm at right now. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink wrap the rest, shrink these down around my terminals here. Is that absolutely necessary? Not really, but I'm just really, as I've said before, really picky about my wiring whenever I build this stuff. So I'm going to shrink wrap those down and get those screwed down in their proper places, and we may just do a test afterwards. Sound good? Sweet, let's do it. Now let's start setting up for testing. Got a switch pod going on here for the video for this. I'll put a link down below in the description where I built this. We're taking the wires coming from the switch pod, hooks onto this strip right here at the bottom. Ready to test her out? Here we go. Turn on this one. See? Ta-da. Turn that one off. Turn this one on. Ta-da. It got extra bright. Then turn this one on. Bah, there's that one. Sweet. So that just goes to show that those work. And before anybody starts crying, well, ain't the rest of them working? 5 switches, 7 relays, which means I need 2 more switches to run them all. But also, I only hooked up 3 of them anyway. They're all wired. They're good. So I just randomly picked some wires out of this right here, hooked them up in there, and that's what I come up with. But you see that when I turn these on, that comes on, so the relay's working. Now, why did I do this? Well, as I explained earlier with the little diagram about how the switches work, notice this one right here. This right here, the bottom lights right here, this is like if you turn on your interior lights or you turn on your headlights, then you get these right here turned on so you can see them all at night. Okay, great. Well, whenever you turn this one on, you notice how the top part of the switch right here lights up also. Well, the problem with this being wired as a negative side switching, it uses the positive side of the switch here to both send power to the relay and illuminate the top part of the switch. So on a negative side switch, it works great for those cheaper switches. It's only got 2 posts like I explained earlier. But your switches that have a post that illuminates the top part to indicate that this switch is turned on doesn't work with negative side. You got to have positive side. So again, I built this whole system right here, well, this system here, as a negative side to show you guys, one, how to do it, so therefore save you some wires, because now I've got hot, big fat black cable coming out of here, a big fat red cable coming out here for the hot that feeds everything, but then I've also got a ground coming out going out to the battery, or actually it's just going to be screwed into the firewall. So now I've got extra wire coming out along with hooking my accessories in, then along with my switches going inside the bottom right here. So I basically added 1 more wire by going to a positive side switch. Is that a big deal? Not really. But people who want to be neat freaks is having as minimal wires as possible. Negative side switching works real well. But whenever you want to upgrade your switches to have the illumination up top, you need to have positive side switch. So again, I'll link down below in the descriptions the build for the positive side switch of the compact PDC that I built, negative side switch for this, and the relay build here. I mean the switch pod build. Oh, check out one more thing too. Boop. I'm gonna have an interior light. Ain't that just sweet? Or a dome light, or what do you call it? Anyway, you guys see that it works. That one, that one, that one, and beep. That is just fun. Alright everyone, that's how to convert a negative side switch to a positive side switch. And once you upgrade from these switches to these fancy switches, because you gotta do it. You gotta be a positive side switch if you're gonna run these type relays here, these type switches. So if you like that video, hit me with a thumbs up below. Subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget you gotta subscribe, because whenever I release these videos, you'll be notified. And also hit me up in the comments down below. How you use your relays, if you've made your own relay packs or if you've made your own switch pods. Tell me about how you use them. Tell me what you feel like the pros and cons are between positive side switching and negative side switching. And again, I'll put all these links down below in the description, so if any of you guys are viewing this video for the first time, you'll understand what the heck I'm talking about, okay? Look at this. I've got another XJ one. What do I need to do with that one? Ponder on this, I will. Everyone, hope you liked the video. Peace out. Later, y'all.